Have you ever looked around and felt like you're stuck in a version of life that doesn't quite belong to you? Like no matter how hard you try, things feel off base. If you're chasing something you can't quite name, and the world just keeps showing you the same frustrating patterns on repeat. Here's the thing most people never learn. The version of reality you're living right now isn't fixed. It isn't set in stone. In fact, what you call reality might just be a mirror of what you've unconsciously chosen to pay attention to. Let that sink in. The truth is, what we experience as the physical world is actually a fluid sea of possibilities. It's not waiting for you to figure it out. It's waiting for you to see it, acknowledge it, interact with it. Nothing is real until you decide to observe it. It's not some poetic idea, it's straight up science. Quantum physics has proven that everything, down to the tiniest particles, exists in multiple potential forms until something or someone observes it. You're not just living in the world, you're helping construct it in real time. Most of us go through life thinking we're reacting to what's already there. But the opposite is true. We're the ones collapsing possibilities into outcomes, whether we're aware of it or not. So the question is, what version of life have you been unintentionally reinforcing? What are you locking into place simply by focusing on it every day? This is the moment you stop seeing yourself as a bystander. You're not some random soul dropped into a chaotic universe. You are the architect of your experience. The entire field of potential is literally bending around your awareness. But you've got to wake up to that role, because if you don't, your life will continue being a rerun of the same old storylines. Not because you're meant to suffer, but because you've unknowingly been playing the same scene on loop. Once you realize that, everything changes. You can spend your mornings visualizing wealth, repeating affirmations, even writing down your dream life in perfect detail, yet still feel stuck in the same frustrating loop. Why? Because while your conscious mind might be focused on abundance, for a few minutes a day, your subconscious is busy broadcasting scarcity 24/7. And here's the kicker. The quantum field listens to your dominant frequency, not your occasional intentions. It responds not to what you say you want, but to what you truly believe and emotionally embody, especially when you're not paying attention. Most people don't realize how much their subconscious runs the show. It's like software running silently in the background, programming your reactions, your emotional defaults, your expectations about what's possible. You might be dreaming of expansion, but if your inner story says, "I'm not worthy," or "I always have to struggle," that's the frequency you're sending out. And that's exactly what the field reflects back. This is where coherence comes in. If your thoughts are saying one thing, your emotions another, and your core belief something else entirely, you're in energetic chaos. That chaos creates static mixed signals that confuse the quantum field. You might take all the right actions, but your internal state isn't lined up. And without internal alignment, there's no clarity in your broadcast. Think of it like trying to tune into a radio station but being slightly off the frequency. Just sounds like noise. To collapse a new timeline into your reality, you need coherence. That means your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are working together, not fighting each other. It's not about being positive all the time. It's about being aligned, feeling what you want as if it's already real, thinking in harmony with that feeling. And most importantly, noticing when your unconscious programming starts to pull you out of that alignment. This is where quantum self-awareness becomes the game changer. It's not just about noticing your thoughts. It's about observing the deeper layers, your emotional undertones, your hidden beliefs, your energetic patterns. It's about asking, what's the signal I'm sending when no one's watching? What story am I unconsciously rehearsing? You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be consistent. When your conscious desires finally match the energetic blueprint your subconscious is holding, that's when reality shifts. That's when the quantum field gets a clear message, not mixed frequencies, not hope laced with fear. It's just one solid signal. This is who I am now. And the moment you begin living from that coherence, everything around you starts to rearrange. Not because you forced it, but because you finally became energetically available for it. Let's get one thing straight. The universe isn't responding to your morning affirmations. Your vision board, or your carefully crafted journal entries at least, not directly. The quantum field doesn't operate on language. It doesn't process your vocabulary, your motivational quotes, or the pretty words you speak when you're trying to manifest. Instead, it responds to what you are, what you vibrate, what you consistently feel and focus on beneath the surface. Your energy is the language. Your emotion is the command. Your frequency is the signature. And that's the only thing the field truly listens to. You could say all the right things. I'm abundant, I'm healthy, I'm loved. But if your internal state is anxious, doubtful, or riddled with insecurity, that's the signal you're actually broadcasting. And the field responds with terrifying precision. It's not because it's punishing you, but because it's loyal to your energy. Always. Focus works like a high-powered flashlight. Wherever you aim it, you illuminate a potential outcome. At the same time, everything you don't focus on fades into the background of possibility. So every time you choose to zero in on your fears, your problems, or your perceived limitations, you're not just observing them, you're literally giving them more weight in your experience. Not because they're more real, but because you made them more real by pouring your energy into them. This is the part most people miss. Your thoughts aren't just passing ideas. They're energetic catalysts. Every time you think a thought and charge it with emotion, fear, excitement, love, doubt, you're sending out an energetic instruction to the field. You're saying this is important. This matters. Let's make more of this. That's how powerful you are, even when you're unconscious of it. So if you're wondering why you keep reliving the same emotional loops, the same financial struggles, the same relationship dynamics, it's likely because you've unknowingly built a frequency around them. You've turned your focus into a feedback loop. And the field, being neutral and unconditionally obedient, keeps feeding you more of what you highlight. Here's the radical shift. You don't have to beg, chase, or hustle the universe to get what you want. Simply have to become energetically coherent with it. That starts with focus, intentional focus. Not on what's missing, but on what's already emerging. Not on what's wrong, but on what's possible. Start training your awareness like a sculptor trains their hands, deliberately shaping the invisible into form. Your life is not reacting to your words, it's reacting to your frequency. So the question isn't what are you asking for, it's what are you consistently being? Because that's what the field is reflecting always exactly. Without exception, you can meditate every morning, visualize your dream life, and say all the right affirmations. But if your subconscious mind is still operating from fear, lack, and unworthiness, nothing changes. That's the part most people miss. They assume their conscious effort alone can override the years, sometimes decades of conditioning buried beneath the surface. But the truth is, the quantum field doesn't just listen to what you want. It responds to the signal you broadcast. Most consistently, and that signal is often set by your subconscious programming. While your conscious mind is spending 20 minutes imagining wealth and expansion, your subconscious is running on autopilot for the other 23 hours and 40 minutes. Still looping scarcity, doubt, and limitation. And guess which signal the field takes seriously? Not the one you focus on occasionally, but the one you live from energetically. This is why people stay stuck despite their best intentions. They're energetically split. They're asking for one reality with their words, but aligning with another through their emotional and unconscious state. That's where coherence becomes non-negotiable. Coherence means your thoughts, your emotions, and your intentions are all lined up, pointing in the same direction like a laser beam instead of scattering like static. When you're coherent, you're not just thinking about what you want, you're feeling it, believing it, and living as if it's already unfolding. Coherence creates clarity, and clarity generates power. The universe doesn't need you to be perfect, it needs you to be consistent, and you can't reach consistency without awareness. This is where quantum self-awareness becomes the foundation. For real transformation, you have to start tuning in, not just to your thoughts, but to your emotional habits, your unconscious narratives, and the energy you're projecting when you're not trying to control it. It's about asking deeper questions. What do I believe is possible for me? What emotion do I live in when I'm not performing? What expectations am I carrying into every interaction without realizing it? You don't change your life by fixing the outside world, you change it by becoming aware of the signals. you've been sending unconsciously and choosing to align them deliberately. It's not about force. It's not about willpower. It's about clarity, coherence, and commitment to observing a new reality into being. When you begin to think the thoughts of your future, feel the emotions of your future, and believe with the certainty of someone who knows it's already unfolding, your entire field begins to shift. The quantum doesn't argue. It doesn't delay. It mirrors, and the moment your inner world aligns, the outer world follows, like it always has. Only now you're finally aware of how much power you've had all along. You don't need to change your life by force. You change it by shifting your focus. That might sound too simple to be true, but when you understand how the quantum field works, it becomes crystal clear. Your attention is the steering wheel of your reality. What you focus on with emotional intensity becomes the seed of what the universe grows for you. If you're constantly observing what's wrong, what's missing, what hasn't worked, you're unknowingly reinforcing that version of life. You're voting for it with your energy. But the moment you redirect your perception toward possibility, toward expansion, toward the feeling of it's already happening, you start collapsing a new timeline into form. The outside world isn't shaping your state. Your internal state is projecting the world you see. That's why two people can live in the exact same circumstances and experience entirely different realities. It's not the situation, the observer. The game shifts the moment you become deliberate with your focus. It's about stopping the habit of scanning your life for problems and starting to notice the openings, the blessings, the patterns of growth already emerging. It's about choosing to see through the lens of trust, curiosity, and alignment rather than fear and scarcity. And it's not just about visualizing for 5 minutes in the morning. It's a full-day practice, a new way of being. Your energy is your frequency, and your frequency is the access point to what you experience. That's why it's never been about how hard you work or how much you hustle. It's about what state you're broadcasting while doing those things. High-frequency creation starts when you embody the energy of the outcome before it arrives. Want love? Live in the frequency of love. Want abundance? Feel abundant now, not later. That's the shift. To make this real, start doing what I call a reality audit. Pay attention to what you're consistently observing. Is your attention going to fears or to futures? To limitations or to opportunities? And then ask yourself this simple but powerful question. If I truly believed that whatever I observed with emotion became real, what would I choose to focus on right now? That question changes everything. It pulls you out of unconscious habits and places you in the seat of the creator. Don't let your attention wander randomly anymore. Treat it like sacred currency, because every moment you spend focused on what you don't want is energy you could have invested in what's calling you forward. And if this idea resonates with you, if you're feeling that inner shift, even a little, hit the like button. Leave a comment with what you're choosing to focus on today, and make sure you subscribe for more consciousness-expanding insights. This is just the beginning of what's possible when you stop reacting and start observing with intention. This isn't magic. This isn't wishful thinking. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's definitely not just some feel-good philosophy meant to boost your mood for a few hours. What we're talking about here is measurable science, quantum mechanics, the very field that's reshaping how we understand reality itself. At its core, the observer effect doesn't ask you to blindly believe in something spiritual or intangible. It shows through experimentation and repeatable data that your consciousness is not a passive thing. It's an active force, capable of influencing outcomes across time and space. Your awareness isn't locked inside your brain. It's non-local. It reaches beyond your physical body and has an effect on the environment before any physical action is ever taken. That's not some abstract idea. That's physics. But here's what really matters. You don't need to be perfect to access this. You don't need to master your thoughts or become a monk on a mountaintop. You just need consistency. The quantum field doesn't reward flawless thinking. It responds to aligned frequency. That means the version of you who occasionally slips into doubt but keeps returning to trust will shift faster than the version who waits to feel perfect before taking aligned action. The field isn't judging you. It doesn't evaluate your past or analyze your history. It's completely neutral. It simply mirrors the energy you offer. That's why guilt, shame, or self-punishment doesn't help your evolution. It doesn't speed up manifestation. It distorts your signal. The more you judge yourself, the more static you send into the field. The more you observe with clarity and non-attachment, the more coherent your reality becomes. Which brings us to a truth most people overlook: the power of the silent observer within you. That part of you that can witness your life without spiraling. That space inside that doesn't need to explain or defend or fix, it just watches. And in that stillness, in that presence, you return to your truest frequency. When you observe without fear or drama, you allow reality to reorganize itself around your peace. Not your panic, not your performance. Your presence, that's the real power. Because when you stop trying to control the outcome and start aligning with the frequency of who you already are underneath all the noise, that's when life begins to shift. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped interfering. The field isn't looking for who's trying the hardest. It's responding to who's aligned the deepest. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't to speak louder, to get quieter, to sit still, to breathe, and to simply observe your next chapter unfolding before your eyes. At some point, you have to stop waiting for your life to change and realize you are the one who changes it, not by pushing harder, not by waiting for the perfect conditions, but by stepping fully into your role as the conscious creator. You were never meant to be a passive observer in a world that moves without you. You are not here to survive what happens. You're here to shape what happens. The quantum field isn't something that happens to you, it responds through you. It's a reflection of the attention you give, the emotions you dwell in, and the frequency you live from. Here's the most empowering part. You don't need to be more worthy, more healed, more high vibe to access this. You're already broadcasting, you're already creating. The only question is, what are you creating on autopilot versus what you're choosing on purpose? You are a limitless creative force, and the moment you begin living from that truth, reality begins to bend in ways that used to feel impossible. You shift from victimhood into conscious authorship. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what am I broadcasting that's calling this in? And from that point forward, nothing is random. Every event becomes a mirror. Every experience becomes feedback. Every moment becomes a doorway back into alignment. This isn't about faking it till you make it. It's about embodying it until you become it. You don't need the world to change first. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You need to start resonating with the version of you who already lives what you're asking for. Live from the energy of your desired reality, even before it shows up, and watch how life begins to respond. That's the invitation. That's the mastery. That's the shift. And if this message stirred something in you, if you feel even a flicker of that creator inside you waking up, drop a comment and share what reality you're choosing to embody next. I read every one. And if you want more conversations like this, more reminders of your power, more tools to help you align with your highest frequency, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed, because this isn't just content. This is your activation. You were never here to follow the script. You were here to rewrite it. So ask yourself now, what version of reality will I consciously collapse into form next? Whatever it is, you don't have to chase it. You just have to become it. And when you do, the field will answer exactly, precisely, powerfully, because that's what it's always done.